The old Stormont has withered, but found new life in power sharing. But for how long, as its roots are tested by the storms and pressures that come with it? This peace garden was supposed to symbolize reconciliation between Unionists and Nationalists post-agreement. But for some time now, cracks have been appearing in power sharing and the relationship. There are problems over flags, parading, the past, welfare policy, and money. And just a few months ago, the First Minister threatened to quit over revelations about Republicans on the run being given comfort letters. And today suggested the Assembly and other elected bodies would be part of a protest over the parades dispute in Ardoyne.
The parties are agreed that at every level, Council, Assembly, Westminster and Europe, the denial of cultural expression resulting from Republican violence and threats of violence will have a consequence determining how our members at each of these levels of government will participate.
Just what that means for Stormont hasn't been revealed. Perhaps it involves creating a few more cracks here and there. But what if it means ultimately pulling the plug on power sharing and forcing an election?
I would refer to that as the nuclear option, and if you're going to bring down the Assembly and all its works and the executive, all of that, we're treading into very, very dangerous territory altogether and see nihilistic politics.
Stormont cannot be placed in any kind of jeopardy. I do hear talk, a very foolhardy and reckless talk about bringing Stormont down. Anybody saying that isn't a unionist. We have an opportunity with Stormont. It's not perfect, but it is ours.
Stormont's roof is being repaired, but it could be a metaphor for the system itself, which, like a work of art, remains unfinished. It's a changing picture, offering perhaps little stability.
There is already deep inquiries going on about successions. Who will succeed Peter Robinson? Is he going or is he not?
Do you think Peter Robinson's going to go in September, as rumoured?
I think there's every likelihood of him, and one must say, why would he bother with the creations of instability, where he, I believe, is trying to create stability whilst maintaining a firm stance with the responsibilities that he has.
It's possible the graduated response to parading is a carefully designed valve to ease pressures, an alternative to summer violence. But come the autumn, no real threat to Stormont at all. Even if that is true, some think this strategy isn't enough to ensure Stormont's future.
What it requires really is for the Irish government of whatever colour to overcome their electoral rivalry with Sinn Féin and actually engage with Sinn Féin as basically the nationalist side of the partnership in the north.
When asked if their plan meant ultimately pulling the plug on Stormont, neither main unionist party gave either a firm guarantee of continuing support or made a threat to walk away. But can unionists afford to pull the plug? Do they have more to lose than nationalists?
I think everybody would lose, but of course you've got to remember every time that unionists walk out of the negotiating room, what's left on the table becomes less and less.
Others say Sinn Féin also needs Stormont to work to demonstrate to voters in the Republic they are capable of governing.
If after 7 years, where really I suppose there hasn't been very much achieved by either side at Stormont, it was to collapse, I think that would create potential difficulty for them in the south, unless they were able to lay all of the blame at the door of unionism and say this was really nothing to do with us. I think from a unionist perspective, it's difficult to see where collapsing Stormont would get them.
The view from Dublin is the parties are too self-involved to help one another and themselves.
There's a sense in which Peter Robinson is desperately worried not to move too far ahead of the most hardline elements in his community, and as a result he's almost tied to them. That's on that side. On the other side, Martin McGuinness has made tremendous strides to reconciling the community and to make the process work, but other elements in Sinn Féin are playing to a much more tribal agenda.
Whatever unionism decides to do with Stormont, it does appear to be playing for time, perhaps realising that any sudden move risks prolonged periods of no power at all.